What's up, everyone? Welcome to Into the Cyber State. 2 seconds. I'm just going to stop this echo. My apologies, guys. That was my fault. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Into the Cyber State. This is the premier public broadcast of Galactica Network, a ZK-powered L1 blockchain for you to host your decentralized societies and join in a lot of reputationally enhanced DeFi, all sorts of good stuff. So we consider Web3 kind of half-baked right now, and we're trying to bring the other part, which is identity, social rules, private links to the real world. Pretty much how we feel that Web3 hits the mainstream. Safer, more powerful, compliant, all the good stuff. Now then, guys, we have got some guests today. We've got Web3 Antivirus, who I'm trying to get up desperately right now. I'm just going to see if I can get them invited up to speak. While I'm doing that, CosmosHOSS, how are you doing, my friend? I missed you, dude.
Doing well. I think this is number 4 for me for today. This is my 4th Twitter space. So I'm a bit exhausted because I only got about 3 hours of sleep, but here I am. Let's get it, man. Like I just apologize in advance if I just lose my train of thought or just go off on a random rabbit hole. So
That's really not a problem, man. You're working. You're grinding today. All right. I have invited both Web3 Antivirus and Hippolyte Rob up to the stage. If you cannot accept the speaker role, then if you could just leave the space and come back, that should fix it, and then we should be able to re-invite you. In the meantime, guys, it's a good day. We have got an awful lot going on in the Cypher State at the moment. The last couple of weeks have been really, really special. We've got marketing partners coming on. We've got some amazing stuff going on behind the scenes, which we are going to be announcing incredibly soon. So you just want to be involved. Best way to do that is to jump onto Discord. Jump onto Discord and start taking part in the Cypher State campaign. You will be able to earn your Galactica Network citizenship, which is going to be a soulbound NFT. Essentially, we're not doing a specific airdrop as such. But you are able to earn your citizenship, which is an NFT, which will gain all sorts of benefits for your effort. So basically, it's a reputation drop, a soul drop, as some people like to call them, rather than an airdrop. So check that out. Jump on the Discord. Okay, it looks like we've got at least Hippolyte up on the stage. Welcome, my friend. How are you doing? You are muted. I don't know if you're muted or if you've just lost your mic or something like that. Okay, we are going to get this working. I promise everyone. We will get everyone and give everyone their right to speak. I promise. Right.
that's what my hello, are you there? Call.
Oh, man. It's always the technical issues, isn't it? Always the technical issues.
It's crazy. I came in, I was like, okay, avoiding scams in Web3. Like I was like, all right, let's talk about it. I kind of was talking about it earlier. So we're doing like an introductory space of what advice I would give, people that are new to like Cosmos, and it was kind of talking about, I don't want to say scams, but just giving advice about how to kind of navigate the trenches, if you will, and things that I wish I knew or do know and wouldn't want anyone else to not know. And this is probably a really good topic, because there's so many of them, sadly, especially the main source of information in this space is on Twitter and Telegram, and both of those are just infiltrated with just scumbags. So,
Really, it's absolutely god awful sometimes. You just think like, you look at the space sometimes and think, oh my God, 90% of this is just not good enough.
yeah, exactly. It's like, but once you know what the key indicators are, it's so easy. It stands out like a sore thumb, while we're talking about it, and hopefully they're going to be able to come back on while we're just ranting about it. If you're in Telegram, Discord, administrators will never DM you. So if you get that, scam. On Twitter, teams generally, when they make a post and there's comments on the post, and someone posts on the post about like airdrops or something, they're most likely it's a scam. Yeah, just do your research. If you ever see a team or someone post something on Twitter but does not have comments enabled, it's probably a scam. Because why else would they not allow comments? Because people can't comment and say, "Hey, this is a scam," so they do that. And then, yeah, just don't do any decisions, make any decisions while you're tired, not in the right mindset, and you'll probably avoid any potential scam.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's good advice. Very good advice. Web3 antivirus, I've invited the main account up to the stage. Hippolyte, I hope that you can speak now. How are we doing? I can't hear Hippolyte. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Let's try and figure this out together, shall we? Right. Okay. So, what I think we'll do, if I don't know if Web3, the actual like main account, can jump up. Maybe Hoss, can you try and invite the main account for me?
I just did, so we'll see where that takes us.
Yeah. 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 No problem. I think until we can try and get these guys their right to speak, we will do some news and we will get on with some stuff. But I'm really looking forward to getting these guys' opinions, so I really want them up. Right, okay. So what we'll do, we'll jump straight onto the news, guys. If you can do us all the great big favor, check out the bottom, the bottom right of your screen, the little purple pill. Give us a like and a retweet on the space. Massively helpful, and we will be forever grateful if you just give us that little boost. If you have any questions at any point, just pop them in the comments. Also, you are more than welcome to come up on the speaker stage. We are happy to have you up here. It is an open stage, and we're happy to get your opinions. Okay, everyone. So we have a couple of things today on the news docket. So we've got Hong Kong, which is planning to submit a stablecoin. So basically, an over-the-counter crypto bill. It's essentially just a consultation at the moment, but the government basically plans to submit licensing bills for stablecoins and over-the-counter crypto trading frameworks. It's kind of the same stuff that the UK, I guess, is doing at the moment. If you guys have in anywhere near that jurisdiction, people are really trying to rush forward with the regulation side again. I've seen a couple of governments who are doing this now, who are trying to push forward with the stablecoin regulation and get that basically inked and stamped within the next 6 months. I feel like the next 6 months seems to be a big line in the sand for a lot of governments right now. So, Hoss, what do you think of of the regulatory landscape in the next 6 months? Have you noticed in the US that a lot of stuff is happening in this next 6 months? I feel like everything is kind of lining up with the possibility of a bull run and all sorts of other things that are just lining up and the stars are lining.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to gauge the American political spectrum. Besides knowing the facts of it takes forever for anything actual meaningful, regardless if it's with crypto or just anything, to get done and accomplished because there's so much red tape and bureaucratic nonsense. Then, in addition to that, all the people that are basically pulling the strings tend to be well immersed with the racket that goes on with what they have, and why burn anything that is what doing well for you, right? And like crypto's kind of, it's a newer landscape, and things most people just don't understand technology as a whole in general. And then it's like a small subset of humans that actually understand tech, and then you take that and most of those people don't understand crypto, and it's such a small subset of human beings on planet earth that actually understand crypto. Like honestly, I don't even know if maybe a million people or so that truly understand crypto, like how it works, how everything works, like all the tech.
Oh,
Unless you're
truly understand.
like
That's even way
truly,
less than that. Yeah.
exactly, like truly understand, maybe in the thousands, to be honest with you. Like I feel like I spend 12, 15 hours a day most days in this space, and my knowledge is pretty immersed. Like I would say if you had to give a degree out, I probably have a PhD, but there's people that are obviously more than a PhD with me. It's just like they've had their PhD since they were born, right? And those people I get to talk to. So do you have those type of people actually on your helping with maybe regulations? Probably not. So they're just all kind of just shooting from the hip, if you will, and deciding what they want to be done. And America is kind of more just they don't get it. So it's almost like regulation by enforcement, which never works. It doesn't matter what, regardless of what topic it is, if you don't have clear guidelines. So it's just very awkward in a sense. Like I put out a funny little tweet about geo blocking. Like geo blocking's kind of been like the go-to measurement now as an American, and we get treated essentially like third world citizens. But I'm old enough to remember the doors were wide open for Web 1 and Web 2 in this country. It was like all for it, like, hey, don't care, come here, build, 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 build. And then now it's like, well, those type of industries as Web 2 companies, they have such a footprint in the political spectrum with giving money out, millions and millions of dollars. So again, it doesn't benefit the people that are pulling a string. So I'm not actually confident in 6 months, to be honest with you. But if it does, I feel like it's not going to be the way it should be. But there are indicators that I think, like Senator Warren, to me, she's an evil crony. She always has been, even before crypto. But she actually has competition now. I think it's John Deaton, which is like he's a big, big, huge advocate of crypto, and he's actually running against her. And people can literally, there's been a lot of people throughout crypto that, even if they don't live in Massachusetts, which is where they're going to run against her, people are donating a lot of money to his campaign, like crypto people, because she's in the ears of all the people, and she's like the old miserable person that's shouting and pouting about the world changing, and she doesn't understand it. So if we can get her out of office, that's like a really bullish indicator in America, but just crypto as a whole, because not being a cavalier, but America kind of runs the markets. Maybe not for the indefinite foreseeable future, but it's just the way it is. Like the dollars everywhere, it's kind of pulling the strings behind everything. So if America actually embraces crypto and stable coin regulation and makes it pure and simple and smart and intuitive and not overcomplicated, then I think it's just we're gonna win. And you were talking about like the electoral thing. Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a new administration. Who knows? Like, I don't know who votes and is confident in, either candidate, if you will, but like more so the current candidate. He would not even be able to have this conversation. He would probably fall asleep already. So, like, who knows? Like, so it's a very awkward time to say for purely what's going to happen. I just am not confident until it happens. Like, it's just
I
the
think
way.
in general, America's like in that awkward position. Like you guys have managed to put yourselves in that awkward position, just like politically, right? It's an odd place to be when you've got this incredible open technology that's just absolutely just starting to outcompete your current systems, and you're still stuck trying to figure out what the hell kind of rules to put on it.
Yeah, and if I had to give like my theory, it's more about them dragging their feet until they can either cement their place in ways that can benefit the people that keep giving them all the money, whether that's banks and stuff. And the reason why it's very awkward and kind of I'm not as positive that in the 6 months is because they're having these conversations, and they're having total they're just having people that are just not good people, like Diamond or whatever. He's just not a good person. So why does he have any point of view on anything that's happening? It's like the dude's been fined billions of dollars for basically corruption, and they're going to interview him and have him talk in front of all the people essentially that make the decisions. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not very confident because this dude has been fined billions of dollars for just basically corruption. Let's just call it what it is, corruption. and he has a say in like the future or potentially the future of crypto. So there's that, but also again, it's political season. I think a lot of people, regardless of what owl or which way you vote, are just kind of tired of everything. Like they're just people are tired here. The prices
For
of
sure.
everything are just
For
they're just
sure.
astronomical. Everything's just astronomical. So like you got to be some sort of like quote unquote knucklehead if you're like, oh, we're happy with this. Let's keep everything in order and keep voting for the same people that decide all this stuff. There's just no way anyone, I don't care who you are, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm so excited to get less product for more money. And it's insane, man. Like, if you think I don't know, I'm sure it's like that all over the place, but America is crazy. Like, every utility bill this year that I got a letter, every single one of them, your price of your electric's going up by this amount. Your gas is going up this much. Your water's going up this much. Your sewage is going up this much. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm so pumped. Like, keep this current administration. All these people are just amazing human beings. Let's just keep them in there. So there's that too.
Absolutely bonkers, man, really. Look, guys, I am trying desperately to get Hippolyte and Web3 antivirus up here, but it is seemingly failing at every single turn. I'm not quite sure what is wrong, so it may well be that in order to get these guys up, I'll try one thing. I will try to disconnect myself as a co-host and then come back up because I can't seem to invite them on my co-host account, which may be messing things up. I'm not entirely sure. But if that doesn't work, we may actually have to rug the space and then start again. I'm not entirely sure how to actually fix this. Have you come across this before, Hoss?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily with the guest not being able to speak, but I have had it where there's two co-hosts and then someone gets on and they can't hear one another, or you can hear the speaker and I can't. So, I mean, that could be a solution. I mean, it's not going to hurt, right? So, go ahead and try it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I'll,
We
I'll
got
just
to try something.
I'll, I'll just keep reminiscing here.
I can deal with it. I can deal with it. I think Hippolyte has just entered the stage again. One last try, Hippolyte, before I disconnect. Can you speak? It's a sad, sad time. Okay, guys, I'm just going to disconnect on my co-host. Please bear with us while I'm just disconnecting and reconnecting. It'll take 5 seconds. If you can just give us a like and a retweet on the space, I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah. That's the best with you.
I'm back, baby. I'm back. Okay, let's try the invites. Apologies, everyone in the audience. Thank you very much for bearing with us. We are trying our best to get our guest speakers onto the stage. I've
Yeah, it's
just
hard to
thrown.
really have a show without you having your guest speakers, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah,
you and
yeah,
I
yeah.
could just like talk about stuff,
We
but
can talk about security, sure, sure.
okay.
I just liked the idea of having someone who knows what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, and I need a break. Honestly, it's my fourth space. I don't know how much I can talk. It's just like, and I'm sleep deprived. So it was one of those nights where you go to sleep kind of not too late. Like I consider midnight not too late for my standards, and then you just wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and you're just wide awake. Like I was so awake, it felt like I slept for 15 hours, and I'm like, man, this sucks. Like I know I'm gonna be so tired today because I'm not a young little pup anymore that can just do 4 hours after 4 hours. And the night before, I pulled an all nighter because there were some things going on in the space that I wanted to stay up for. And yeah, so I just like I'm so wrecked right now. It's like I need to take like Benadryl or something and get actually good sleep tonight. Just regardless, shut all electronic devices off at a certain point. I don't care what happens. Like the world can end and I'm sleeping through it.
Oh
It's like
my god, sounds like fun.
I need to, man. It's just like it's so much. But man, I love this space. I give everything I have to this space, and I hope people, over time. enjoy it. I try to be informative and educational and add value. You know, I do like to have fun too. Don't get me wrong, but my style is more of how I can help you, or if you have any questions. And I just, that's my style. Like, I do tune in sometimes and people are goofing around on spaces, but I just, my time is so limited. It's like, if I listen to some Twitter space, I want to actually learn something or gain something
Hell
from that.
yes. Hell yes. It's all about
That
value for the listener.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's just my style, you know. And I find there's a lot of good people, including this podcast that we do every Wednesday. But yeah, I just try to do that because it's like, man, I don't have the time. I'm putting in so many hours, and if I do want to listen to something, I don't care what it is. I just want to learn something, you know. So like,
Oh,
I
hang
think
on. Speaking of, I think we've got the main account for Web3 Antivirus up on the speaker panel. Do we have a voice? How you doing, guys? What's up?
I'm not confident.
Elon, what are you doing to me, man? What are you doing to me?
It's either that or these guys are just like pulling the greatest prank of all time. Like,
Maybe,
it could be that.
maybe.
They could be that too. Like, they could hit us up afterwards and be like, "Hey, man,
Like,
you guys
guys,
are
get pranked.
yeah, you guys are punked."
Okay, guys. In all seriousness, I don't want to waste anyone's time with again, like we were just talking about, an invaluable space, or a valuable, a non-valuable, invaluable is a word. Anyway, whatever. What I think we will do is we're gonna rug the space. I really apologize, guys. I would really appreciate it if you guys could join in the space that I create and give it an immediate like and a retweet to try and boost it up in the algorithm, everyone, okay? So I will be recreating the new space in the next minute or so. If you can all join, and we will hopefully get Hippolyte and the Web3 antivirus guys up on stage immediately, okay? So we're
Hey,
going
and
to try our best.
when you do that, maybe like see if they can speak first, and then I'll join up. Maybe that could be, there could be a weird bug too. Who knows?
Maybe, I'm not sure. Web3, I don't know if you heard, but we're just going to rug the space. I'll be back very soon,
Imagine
okay?
if he talks right now. I'll be so
I know,
weak.
fucking hell. All right, see you in a second, guys.
All right.
Okay, guys, welcome to Avoiding Scams in Web3, Part 2, Electric Scamalo. This is a very special space. It's the second part to a failed one earlier. Let's get to it. We're going to try and invite the people who we could not before. Let's get Hippolyte up here. I'm specifically not doing any co-host requests because I'm kind of hoping that that was a bug and that this will help in some way. We will very soon see. First, we're going to get Hippolyte up on the speaker, and then we'll do HOSS, and then hopefully we'll get the Web3 antivirus main account up. Apologies for the wait, guys. While you are waiting, please do give us a like and a retweet on the space. This one won't be rugged unless we fail to move forward for some reason. In the meantime, guys, also, if you would like, you're also welcome to jump up on the stage and just shoot some stuff with us. We're more than happy to have other people on the stage. Oh my good lord, we have Hippolyte on the stage. How are you doing, sir? Do we have a voice, sir? You'll need to come off mute, off the mute on your Twitter client. We have Easy on the speaker panel. What's up, Easy? How are you doing?
Yo, Citizen GM guys, how you doing?
Oh my goodness, it's wonderful to hear another person's voice.
Yeah, I actually heard where you're telling, asking Hippo what's up, but he couldn't unmute his mic.
That's
So what's
okay,
up,
man.
guys? Hope
It's good. It's good. It's a good day. It's a good day. I'm glad to have you up, Easy. Anyone else who's willing to come up, just come up and have a party. We were planning on discussing scams. We can do that. We were trying to get a professional opinion from Web3 Antivirus and Hippolyte, but apparently there's some kind of technical issue going on. Hippolyte's back up on stage. I'm going to ask again, can you unmute? Can you speak? I really hope so.
I don't ever show his microphone ever coming off on mute.
No, that's true. Hippolyte, if you can hear me at all, you do need to take your mic off mute from the Twitter client on the bottom left. Okay, we have everyone officially on stage. That's cool. Web3 Antivirus, main account. Who's behind there? Can we speak?
Maybe they're trying. Oh wait, go ahead. I was gonna say maybe they're trying to give us a virus. Honestly,
Maybe, or maybe they're communicating in Morse code. It could be like they're that secure.
I don't know.
really?
Hey, I hear a voice. I hear a voice. How are you, sir? I think, right? No, that was easy.
Yeah, that was. I think it was easy. He was playing a prank on you, man. Oh man. Anyways,
All right, boys and girls, let's just discuss a little bit and shoot some stuff, see what happens. I really hope that Hippolyte and Web3 Antivirus, the main account, managed to get their mic sorted out. I can only assume it's your mics, guys, because Easy seems to be able to come up and speak. So I hope you guys can manage to fix that. Till then, let's have a little look at what's going on in Web3 again. So Circle, everyone knows Circle, right? They're the guys behind USDC, very big money bags. They have ceased support for USDC on the Tron blockchain as part of their risk management strategy. So as you guys might be aware, actually, Tron is kind of like this dark horse in Web3, I think. It actually turns out that like most of the stablecoin transactions in Web3 are done on Tron. I don't know if you knew that, Hoss.
Yeah, it's It's very peculiar, Tron network. Like I don't. There's so many people that use it, but then there's so many people that don't use it. So I don't ever really understand how to vibe with Tron. It's just everyone does use it though, like in certain regions of the world, I assume. I don't know anyone really in like America that probably
I
uses it,
think it's
but
mostly Asia. It's like basically Asia's stablecoin service. I guess you could think of it that way.
yeah, a ton of issuances of USDT on Tron, but it's kind of expensive too, though. Like, right? The gas is kind of
It's
expensive.
not. It's not like Cosmos or like it's not like yeah. It's not. It's medium. It's not like super low like a lot of them are. Like a lot of the new ones are.
Yeah, uh, yeah. So yeah, man. Well, it is what it is, right? Like, that's the thing. USDC, it's definitely a net positive in the space for sure. But like, yeah, they can align with the chains that they want it to be on. I guess in
Do you
theory,
prefer USDC or USDT?
it's hard to say. I mean, maybe because I'm in America, I would say USDC because it's easy to onboard and offboard, especially now that Noble's the native issuance of USDC throughout Cosmos. So it's kind of easy. Like Solana too, it's just easy. You could just send it and it's cheap, and you know how much it is. So I guess it's hard to say that. Like, I don't mind either one. Like, I don't know. They both serve a purpose. I understand in other regions why they would use USDT. I mean, USDT is definitely bigger than USDC.
It's not that far off anymore, is it? I'm not sure it's that far off.
No,
But like,
I actually haven't looked in a long time.
no,
I'm a
me
little
either.
crazy.
To be fair, but like, I swear, last time I looked, they were not that far off. It was like a few billions, but not that many billions. So I guess the main point of this piece of news, guys, is if you use the Tron blockchain and you have USDC, there are some like call to actions that you need to follow. So you can redeem your USDC for fiat with Circle if you want to, and basically you just need to go through whatever announcements they've put out, go check it out, and make sure you sort yourself out, because otherwise you could be holding something that is no longer supported. No good. Okay. So
By the way, but not to cut you off, but it's pretty significant still. Like Tether is their market cap is a little over 98 billion, and USDC's at 28 billion. So it's
wow,
still
that's gone down. I swear that's gone down
yeah.
quite a bit. Okay,
I mean,
interesting.
you may have been looking. Maybe you were looking at the volume. Maybe that's what you're looking at. I'm not sure.
Possibly. I mean, this was months ago that I managed to lodge this piece of poor information in my mind, apparently. So yeah.
It's all good, man.
Okay. So lastly, we've got MetaMask, which is integrating blockade security alerts for wallet users across basically the interchain, multiple chains. They're integrating this blockade thing. It's by default on its extension and its mobile app. So you'll want to check that if you use MetaMask. Just see what it does for you. The integration is essentially the goal is to automatically inform users about potentially malicious transactions. If you guys have used something like Wallet Guard or indeed, I think Web3 antivirus, we haven't managed to get an introduction yet because they haven't been able to get on stage, but I think that's pretty similar. If you use any of those security extensions, then MetaMask is integrating this blockade one, which is something similar, I think. I would love, my goodness, I would love to have these guys up here. Let's just had another request from Hippolyte. Let's have a look.
Yeah, I think it's a loss. I think we just lost. It's a lost cause. It's like sometimes you just have to cut bait,
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
if you're fishing for a long time and you just like can't catch anything, you're like, all right, this is kind of it is what it is. Like it's not my day.
It seems
you
that
know,
way. It seems that way.
it's just not our day. But we can keep it moving though. Yeah, man. MetaMask. What's your thoughts on MetaMask as a user?
As a user, like, I don't know, man. It's used. It's adopted only because it was the first mover. I mean, it's the first mover and it works, and it's got a decent UX, kinda. It's just still very disjointed. It still feels very Web3. and very
Oh yeah.
like not friendly at all.
And it's also being updated every single day. Like, those devs are really working hard up there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they have a lot of resources for sure. Like more than any other wallet, probably you can probably add them all together combined. But yeah, for how much resources and how, yeah, like you said, the first mover's advantage. I would expect a lot more from MetaMask to be quite frank with you. Like one of the things that I find to be the most irritating part of EVM is the fact that if you go from like one L2 to the other, you have to manually change the chain, and it's annoying. Like when you use Kepler, you just go from, like, hypothetically, if you're on Galactica and you wanted to go to Osmosis, you just do it and it works.
Like
You
it's
don't really.
seamlessly, it's fucking seamlessly. It's seamless. Like
Yeah, it's a better experience. Like I judge everything in this space about my experience, like because I've been grinding so much in this space, and I know if I have a little bit of, I don't want to say confusion, but I need to do workarounds. I know the person that's newer is going to be like, this sucks. So it's like, come on, guys, like let's figure it out here. And but other than that, I mean, yeah, like MetaMask isn't terrible. It's just I do think for how much resources they have and how long they've been around the block, I would expect it to be a lot better at this point during the journey. Like there's so many other wallets now, in my opinion, that are just a lot better. Like even some Solana based wallets, they kind of merged into being an EVM wallet too, and I think they're just a
Well, like
lot better.
Phantom, I actually quite enjoyed using Phantom for some reason.
My favorite wallet in this space as a whole, like the optionality and just like the experience, is Backpack Wallet, and that's a Solana based wallet. Like it's really good. It's like a wallet that you can use and you don't ever have to leave your wallet. Like you can legit play games and do things through your wallet. And it's pretty cool. And it's like the way it should be. I think all wallets should essentially be kind of like an app store and an experience as opposed to just this way of doing things on your in the blockchain, because like a lot of people don't realize that a wallet doesn't store your funds. Like I think it's a misnomer in this space. People think, oh yeah, Kepler or MetaMask or whatever. It's just a way to interact with the blockchain. The money isn't saved. The funds aren't saved on your wallet. Like I hear that all the time, and then also with like um, ledgers, people think the money's saved in your ledger. It's like no, it's just like a key and another key. Like if someone gets your key, still they can get access to you. Like it doesn't matter. So
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
like these basic blockchain fundamentals that they're still like not there's still not enough education out there. There's still not enough easy to access education about this stuff anyway. Stuff that's like actually understandable, that breaks it down into something that normal people can understand.
Yeah, and and like I think Ledger's a plus positive as a whole, but I also think it's a shit experience. Like there's no way around it. I don't use Ledger. I have three of them. I'm looking at them right now. It's almost like a memento of like, oh, it used to be this. Like, but like I have Keystone Wallet, and I just do like Web3 would have been a great. These guys would have been great because I'm sure they have things that they do, but
can you
I
guys hear me by any chance? Just sorry to interject.
Oh
You,
my
yeah.
you guys working
goodness.
now?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
Hold on a
thank
second. Hold on a
Christ.
second.
I would like to extend a
How
spoiler
many
apology of
sound bites
mine
can we
and
do?
Web3 antivirus behind. I've been screaming and crying on my end, trying to get first a phone, then a laptop, then a phone to work. When I got the microphone working, the audio would just cut. I cannot hear you guys anymore. After what is that? 42 minutes of tech support. We're here. I hope you guys can hear me relatively clearly. I can hear you guys pretty well.
We
Thank you
can
for
hear you.
having us. Yeah, okay, yeah. If it is extremely late.
Hold on a
My
second. Hold on.
goodness.
Hold on.
Welcome.
Just because.
Jesus
Thank you
Christ.
very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, I've muted everyone. My goodness. Okay, I had to mute everyone. My brain was exploding. I'm sorry. Welcome, Hippolyte. I'm really, really glad to have you on the stage. Thank you for coming. Very much appreciate you tech supporting yourself for 42 minutes. That's impressive. Okay, guys. So, in celebration of Hippolyte managing to get on the stage, please give us a like and a retweet on this space. We're about to get some cool information. We're about to do some, get into the meat of this space and hopefully educate some people, because I want this piece of the recording on the space to be very educational for anyone who listens to the recording. So, okay, let's get going. You are listening to Into the Cypher State. This is the premier public broadcast for Galactica Network, and we are about to get into security with Web3 antiviruses, Hippolyte Rob. So, and he's just disconnected. Yep, okay. Well, you couldn't even script it. Well, that was anticlimactic. I got so excited. I was jumping off my seat. I was so excited that he managed to get onto the stage. This seems to be. I would say that we've kind of at a loss here, guys. I'm really apologetic for the fact that this seems to be technically a problem. Easy, go ahead, man, please. Was I not speaking? I didn't even have my freaking mic on, did I? I was just saying that I apologize, guys, for the technical issues here. Easy, what's up, man?
Yeah, I could hear you now. I just want to say, I could hear you now.
Yep. So
If I had to summarize this whole space, it would be the word quagmire.
two spaces, Hoss. If you could summarize the two spaces, I would say.
The word quagmire is it's just so sufficient for this whole interaction.
I have never been more frustrated in my life, I don't think. Like I may sound calm, guys, but I'm like there's cartoon steam coming out of my ears right now.
He's just gonna have fun sometimes, it's like we've been dealt a bad hand right now. It's just like whatever. Screw it.
We've been dealt fucking 5 bad hands, Hoss. At this point we're flogging a dead horse. This is the dregs. This is the end of the line where the train crashes off.
I would refer to it as a kerfuffle. I've been brought up to life. I've been able to speak for 45 seconds before my phone decided to tell me no and just to dunk back on me. And when you speak about frustration, I hear you. I'm usually quite a tech savvy guy. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a degen. I think I'm way less in the Web3 spaces, but I've never had shit, excuse my language, shit fail on me like it has tonight.
It's okay, Apollo. Like Hoss was saying, sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that one really resonated with me. I'm not gonna lie. Nice to also talk to you, host. I was listening to you for quite a bit there, and not being able to talk back, but you did bring up quite some interesting points. And well, if the connection is stable, which I am really praying that it will maintain, we can maybe talk about a few points, hopefully.
All right. Okay, Hippolyte, could you please introduce Web3 antivirus for us? What do you do? Who are you? And what has your kind of journey in Web3 been? We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys have been talking about it a little bit before. You kind of already hit the nail on the head. You talked about Blockade and a few browser extensions that are concerned with security. Essentially, what everything about Web3 antivirus itself. We are a browser extension API. Well, there's a lot of ways to get us, but we are a service that's oriented around security and making sure that individuals are safe within Web3 and active trading spaces. So essentially, the way we interact is that we will be a layer between you and your interactions through blockchain, and we will run any interaction you have through our simulation. We have compiled a significant amount of data and history of poison addresses and different scams and known traps to be able to warn you if you interact with any known threats. And then before you make any interaction, run that simulation and then report a score of how safe we think your transaction is going to be. Essentially 2 to 4 seconds every time you want to create a new a transaction or you want to make a new action within the web. And yeah, it's a pretty simple feature and it works quite well. And I've, in my role in this, I've joined Web3 Antivirus quite recently. I'm quite young, I'm 21 years old and I just finished my bachelor's degree. And blockchain became an interest in my life quite recently. I wrote my thesis on blockchain applications in the luxury industry, first thinking about, digital items, digital passports. That was quite an interest of mine, and now I'm directing myself in this direction. Honestly, I think security, insurance, and being able to cover people and victims of different malicious actors or threats has been quite an interesting drive in this space. I think it's strong to bring power back to individuals. So here I am in this space with you today.
Absolutely beautiful, mate. That's a very fine mission, and I like the idea, and I really do. I'm right in assuming that you're not like a snap on MetaMask or anything like that. You're like a separate extension which which screens your transactions. Is that right?
Well, we're kind of everywhere. Well, you can start, so we're available on most browsers as a basic browser extension, but we're also available as a MetaMask snap. So we've kind of tried to be integratable as easily as possible to make our security accessible to many users. And yeah, so you guys can check it out. So Web3 antivirus on MetaMask Snap or on most of your browsers.
Super cool, super cool. Well, just in case they manage to drop off again by accident, make sure you are following their main account right now. It's in the listener panel, Web3 antivirus with the blue check. So make sure you're following that account, and follow Hippolyte up here, of course, as well. Easy, you have a question, my friend.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Hippo. Are you guys on mobile yet, or just on web alone?
We also have mobile applications as well. So usually when you go through, it depends essentially how you're interacting with Web3 through your mobile. I think if you go through browser, our extension can still be activated through there. Otherwise, we don't have any proprietary mobile app. And MetaMask Snap is still being developed for mobile in terms of all of its integrations. But our Snap should be available there anytime in the upcoming months. So we'll definitely keep you posted about that.
Awesome, awesome. I appreciate it.
Okay,
very welcome.
guys. So we now know who Web3 antivirus are, and they seem absolutely fantastic. So what I would like to ask Hippolyte is kind of how big of a problem are scams in Web3 from your point of view? What's the scale of the issue that we're trying to tackle here?
I mean, so there's a few ways to go about it, but the way to me that's the most significant is just going by individuals affected, right? So we're going to traditional, like we can start talking about traditional scams and seeing the amount of people afflicted there. And the reason why I'll make this mention is because the mechanisms that we see in traditional scamming and the mechanisms we see in Web3 are very, very similar, or at least we can draw quite a few parallels between the two. And because of that, we also draw a parallel between the volumes of people that it's affected. So honestly, in Web3, it's been quite a big problem. We're talking in terms of volumes, we're talking in the hundreds of millions of dollars. People have been lost in terms of I think we have 500 million people affected in different wallets, and sometimes we have millions of dollars going in single transactions of poisoned addresses. So in terms of volumes, it can be quite a bit, and the problem can be quite big. But otherwise, scammers try to make as little noise as possible to try to keep their operations running well. And to be fair, they are quite ingenious. I don't know if some people who are listening here have done a bit of research or maybe even have encountered some of these scams themselves, but they blend into the masses quite easily. So it depends who you ask, but I think it's quite a big problem, and a lot of people I know have been affected by it. If you go looking in a different Telegram or Discord servers, so I like to think that it's important to be conscious about it, especially in this day and age.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Give us a thumbs up in the listener panel, or if you want to give us a comment, if you want to describe any scams that you have fallen foul of or that you are aware of that everyone else should know. Okay, guys. So what exactly are the most common types of scam, I guess, that you could describe that would be a danger to everyone listening?
I mean, so there's going to be quite a various few, but the one I'll start with is the one that I guess most people might have heard of before, which is just phishing attempts and different phishing attempts. To define that quickly for those who some authorities or even just some influential person to say worth trust, who's reliable.
Sorry, I just have to interrupt you, Hippolyte. Do apologize. You are going very robotic on me. Very robotic. I don't know if it's just me.
And it's definitely not just you. It's likely you've been robotic for me for quite a while, but I've been hoping that the other way would be a bit smoother. Let me know if it's still going well.
Just continue. We'll see how far we can get.
Okay, well, could you remind me of where we were at there? Sorry, kind of stuffed me inside in my tracks.
Yeah, my apologies, mate. My apologies. You were basically just describing the first, like the most common types of scam.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
absolutely, yeah. Phishing attacks, that's right. So yeah, impersonating people from authorities, and with your trust and with your reliance, and by your reliance, clearly access to your funds, they're going to say, hey, give me X amount of money and you'll make Y amount of profit. And that can be hidden and conveyed in many different ways, but the essence of the trick is the same. And whenever you send your money over, they'll try to build trust with you, maybe for the first 2 times you send money to them, they'll hit you with more money back, so you really gain confidence. And then all of a sudden, once you want to really withdraw your funds, like your, I don't know, 250% yield that you made over the span of a few months, because it's really a record-breaking thing, they just block you. They stop contacting you, they ghost you, and they move off with all your money. And so that can be a very common one. And I guess to the awareness of that, or the protection aspect of that, really would be double checking and having a lot of reliance and doing a lot of research for the people you interact with, especially if it's very public, very in your face kind of people who are brandishing a lot of attractive numbers and high cash returns.
Absolutely fair, yeah. And this is a very difficult one to defend against, I suppose, being like more like a social attack, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It really is impersonating people, and the most powerful one is when they can impersonate somebody in your close friend circle, right? That those are the ones you hear the most commonly about because they have their name, they have their profile picture. To the untrained eye or the unattentive eye, it just slides right by. All of a sudden, they're asking for something, or maybe it's even a friend who's initiated you into something that really looks super professional, and you hear a lot of great things about it. But yeah, it can easily get you. And those are the ones who are going to get even influential people who are supposed to be quite aware. You'll hear about big Web3 and cryptocurrency authorities in America dealing with this kind of stuff and getting caught by this because the bigger the image, the more convincing it is, so to speak.
Got you, got you. So we've actually just got Tildorn up on stage. I just want to say hi. How are you doing, Tildorn?
Morning all. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well today. Hope everyone is well. So I thought I'd jump on because particular with scams, what is going on at the moment and just before the bull run starts again is just insane. Yeah, I mean, yeah, morning. Firstly, I'll give my opinion later on then.
Of course, man. Of course. No, thank you for coming up, dude. Really appreciate it. And yeah, when the money starts flowing in crypto, that's when the scams start flowing too. So this is one of the reasons I wanted to have this space. What are maybe some, what are the most common types of scam maybe then that your extension can prevent?
So let me just make sure it's working there. Yeah, so I guess some of the common ones, or ones that we've seen most volume with, is poisoned addresses. It's one of the hardest ones to notice because, well, we can't really read solidity, right? Those are like hex codes that are 256 characters long in some cases, and they are like when you're copy pasting into a certain send or return address, it's really easy to mistake a zero for an O and like any other letter. So unfortunately, you're going to get these attacks or scams that are just going to try and get you based off your inability to differentiate one digit in a string of 64. So this is a problem that our extension can really help with because it's running all of these checks automatically for every transaction you're doing within 3 seconds. So you're not even paying attention. You don't have to read over anything. We're already going through a database that's reactive on real time, looking through 100 terabytes of old addresses and different flags that we have to make sure your transaction is safe and sound. So you're not really looking at anything. You don't have to bother about checking the right zero, or if somebody maybe sends you a fake address in your transaction history list and you don't want to copy paste the right one. In this case, you're always covered. And so those small inattentive mistakes you might make that could catch anybody, you don't really have to worry about anymore.
Okay, that's actually pretty impressive. I like the UX there. That like you really don't have to be worried about it yourself. It's just like this automatic little co-pilot, I guess you could call it. That's a nice UX feature. I'm gonna have to check out the extension for sure. So I guess
absolutely. I like the way you said Copilot. That's kind of the thing we were really aiming for. So we do have a few other features as well. You'll see a dashboard as soon as you log in, and this is a pretty nice one for everybody to check whether or not they think they've been safe in their transactions. As soon as you your wallet in, we're going to do a full history analysis of the transactions you've made, and straight away off the bat give you a health score telling you, hey, how well are you doing right now? And maybe if you have some previous transactions that you authorized, maybe you're part of a system where they can have access to infrequent or frequent transactions, then we can flag you if any of those go sour one day to the next. So already giving you a little dashboard and like a monitoring aspect gives you a nice little, well, Copilot, as you said, for navigating Web3.
Love it. That's cool. I really like that. I guess something I would like to ask everyone on the panel is, have you guys ever fallen foul of a scam? Now, I'd love to participate here, but I actually haven't. I haven't not experienced a scam yet. The only ones I've had like attempted at me are like the social engineering ones, the ones that like come at you on Discord or on Telegram or whatever. Whenever you've built any kind of decent, half decent profile on these social platforms, you just get bombarded, just absolutely annihilated with these social scamming attempts. So I'd love to hear from someone who's actually suffered from one of these scams and what they can give like perspective on.
I've been scammed. So my one of the things I always try to tell people is, here's a bad echo. Hold on a second. All right. Yeah. So one of the things I always try to emphasize, just as like a good rule in general, is not to do things when you're like overly tired, because you're not going to think right. It's just humans. Like that's how we're born. It's in our DNA. But there was a time, I don't even think it was that long ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years max, probably within 2 years, where I minted a NFT on Solana, and I was so used to Kepler, where Kepler, like, there's no like scam advertisements. Like, you don't check your NFT, your NFTs on your Kepler, and it displays like, scams or whatever. But like, I didn't realize like that was kind of a common theme in Solana. So it was like, hey, since you own this NFT, I forget which one it was. It was like you can mint a free NFT. It's like an airdrop. And I was like, yeah, cool, because I love NFTs. And I would have noticed if I wasn't half out of it, but I click it, and then anytime, this is a rule, like if anything ever like directs you to a different website and it's not like directly in the interface, probably raise awareness like instantly. But I go in there, I click the stupid link, and then it just drained all my Solana that was in my wallet. So it was quite a bit, man. Like, especially if you consider like what today's prices are of Solana is, it was quite a bit. It was really annoying, So I learned my lesson on that. And the only other time that I was scammed, it was kind of like a reverse engineering scam. I do quite often. I do giveaways, and one of the times, this was like early on when I did a giveaway. Someone just like recreated the winner's profile, and it was like identical, like the followers and everything, and I end up sending the winner, the scammer, money, like, oh, here's your reward, and then they just like blocked me right away. But those are the only two times. I do
That's
realize the
cheeky
most
though. That's really quick thinking on a lot of these scammers' parts. They just see these opportunities and they just make a fake and try the luck.
Oh yeah, for sure. So like the way around that is when I use Twitter Picker or whatever I'm using to pick the winners, and then their handles are there. So now I make sure that I click their handles, and I either send them a DM or they DM me, and I can see, okay, yeah, that's the winner. I don't just like accept random DMs or whatever. So that's the way around it. But yeah, I mean, you just gotta be careful. If it sounds too good to be true, this is just like how life is. It's probably too good to be true. And if you have questions or doubts, go on the main telegrams and ask questions before you do anything, right? And it's always a kind of a good rule too. If you're some NFT degen, and I kind of think, Citizen, you're probably not too much. I don't want to say you're not a degen, but you haven't degened enough, because like I don't care what you're like. Look, I feel like I'm really immersed in this space, and I've been scammed, and I talk to all kind of people, even developers and teams. They've been scammed before. It's kind of like almost like your initiation into crypto. So it's kind of cool that you haven't been scammed. I hope you never do get scammed. But yeah.
But
So there's
at the same time, it's my initiation. Okay, I got you.
yeah. It's
I've
almost
been
like
in
your
this space since
initiation.
like 2016.
Yeah, it's
But you're
crazy
right.
though.
I
'Cause you
haven't degened enough.
I mean, you could be here for a long time and not really just. When I say degen, like I mean like I've used like every protocol. Like I swear I've used like every protocol. Like I just try everything out. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of shit. I'm not going to use it anymore. Oh, that was okay. I'll go back. You know. But it's very tricky, man. Like you got to be careful in this space, especially in the EVM world. There's so many scams in EVM because Solidity's it's just old and antiquated. So there's a lot of ways to just manipulate the smart contracts.
For real. For real. But Hippolyte, you drop down and you come back up. You okay?
Yeah, I hopefully I hear you fine. I was just getting a very robust, so I had to do a little bit of reset of the audio, but hopefully it's fixed now.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Easy, you had your hand up a little while ago. Did you want to add in something like one of your experiences before we go back to Hippolyte?
Yeah, sorry, I was robbed, so I had to come back up. I want to drop a new question so my presentation.
Okay, I don't
So,
know if it's just me, but Easy, I can barely hear you. Like you're
Yeah,
really quiet.
same on my end. Can't really hear the question.
okay. What about now? I want to ask, does Web3 antivirus does it enable sending prompt for phishing links like before clicking or something like that?
So if I understood the question correctly, you're asking, does it give you a prompt before you send anything to a fake address or a malicious wallet?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Essentially, what it'll do is that you'll see, I mean, the same way wallet gives you, like, I don't know if you're, what wallet provider you're using right now, but the same way they give you a prompt when you're interacting with them, if like your wallet auto connects to their website or allows or gives you a pop-up to allow to connect. Same thing happens with us where whenever you're about to send a transaction and the extension installed, it will automatically recognize it and give you a small pop-up with a progress bar on the verification check or the security check. And that'll last about like 3 to 5 seconds maximum. And from that point on, it'll tell you whether or not that transaction is good. So the pop-up is there no matter what. You always get a notification.
Okay. So you're going to like open the link inside your space or something like that.
Right in your browser. Yeah, it just pops up in your window whenever you're about to make a transaction.
I can say I really like that from a UX standpoint. It's nice that it's just all automatic and you don't have to think. That's great. It's about as good as UX as it can actually get when the user doesn't have to think about it.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna
it
say
needs to be like that.
it's like a Web3 malware bites. Like I recommend malware bites for anyone that has a PC. Like it's not sponsored by them, but if they hit me up and like, hey, can you? I love the product. I think it's the best thing out there is malware bites. It makes it almost nearly impossible to like make a mistake. It really does. So I'm a huge fan of malware bites. I think it's great. It's like
Could you describe a bit further how it interacts or kind of like what the product is?
yeah. So like, say you were trying to send me some bullshit link, it just like won't work. It'll just say like it is like it's compromised or it's potentially compromised, and it gets flagged. And they're always updating it. So like it's from a URL perspective, it's nearly impossible to interact with something bad. Even if you try to send me some bullshit link or some malware on like Telegram and say hypothetically I clicked it, it's just not gonna work. Like it just literally won't work. Even if you try to send me a file, like some of these scammers, they try to pretend that they're I'm gonna send you some data or whatever and some bullshit. It just won't work. Like it literally just won't work. Like that's all I can say. It just like won't work. So
I mean, that's perfect. Yeah, that's
yeah.
and as described, it's like kind of the best way the the UI works, right? Is when you don't have to think about it and it only exists in the worst situations. You kind of just has it running in the background, and that way you can open with confidence. And if it's not like that, if it needs to be an active check for every single one of the buttons you have to click, think about how many times. I mean, that's just like it would go back to the attentiveness thing, right? And most of the mistakes you make, like the one you described earlier, is just like you're a little bit out of your head. You're not paying attention when you click. It can be one number change, and all of a sudden it's a wrap.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a product like you have to pay for it. I don't know. Maybe I pay like $50 a year or $100 a year. I don't know what I pay, but it's 100% worth it. It just makes everything better. And sometimes you'll get a thing. It'll say, "Are you sure?" Like there's like NFT marketplaces that are like I know they're legit, and it'll come up. But you could do not block this site or whatever. So like you don't have to deal with that every single time. But yeah, it's really beneficial because like I said, even if for files and everything, it scans the file if you're trying to download like whatever like a PFP or an image. It just knows that there's nonsense with it because I have had that before. I'll look at it and it'll come up and say and then also you can it scans your computer, so if there is any nonsense, it just like basically quarantines it from your computer. So it's like really a great level or layer of security, so to speak. I like highly recommend it for people, even if you weren't in crypto. I'd be like, yeah, you should have it on your computer.
Yes, when you say that, you think it also applies to Web3 quite a bit then as well, right? Because you were mentioning URLs before, and I just wanted to make sure
Oh yeah,
so it applies to Web3 quite a, like those
yeah,
references as
exactly.
well.
Yeah, like it won't stop you if you were interacting with a smart contract on your wallet, but if you were interacting with some nonsense website that was going to go wallet drain you or whatever, then it's going to know that this website's kind of sketchy. It's not even going to let you go on it, and yeah, so there's that, and like also too, like it won't allow you basically to download anything on your computer that's not like legitimate. I can't say with 100% certainty that would be the case every single time, but like I do know, and I've heard that the people that developed it they're like that's like they're master hackers anyway. So it's a great product. Like it works so good. I would recommend it to anyone.
And this is one of the main things that you can do, guys. I think as far as scams go, you need to be proactive. Okay, proactivity is the main thing because once you've been scammed, it's obviously too late. So you need to be considering your security from in Web3 before you do anything else. I think when you come into Web3, especially when you come into Web3 as a self-sovereign individual, someone who's using like the decentralized aspects of Web3 rather than just interacting with centralized exchanges, you are taking on the responsibility of being your own bank. When you actually consider that, when you consider like the amount of security efforts that banks go through to keep their customers' funds secured, you need to be considering something on that, not particularly on that scale, but in that scope of security for yourself, because you need to be providing that security for yourself. Actually being proactive and looking at solutions such as Web3 antivirus, there seems to be a really cool extension. I've been really enjoying speaking to people out here. Then you need to be considering this stuff before you get scammed, because it will make your life easier. And anything that you can do security-wise that doesn't really have any overheads, that doesn't require you to put in any effort, I am all on board with it. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about one time too with malware bites. So someone a while ago like hit me up and was like, "Hey, we want to interview you. Would do you mind?" And like the person sounded legitimate. I even had technically a voice call. It wasn't anyone, and no offense to anyone, it wasn't someone with like a really bad thick accent or anything. Like the person was American. They clearly were American. I could tell right away they're American, and some stuff started to draw a red flag for me. Just like me digging into some questions and interaction, and I was kind of sketched. I started getting a little bit sketched, and they sent me a link, and it was like a screen share link or whatever, right? And I have a virtual machine, so like even if they got in like this virtual machine that I was in, like there's nothing that they would have been able to do anyhow because it's like a computer within a computer. But I was just curious. I was like, let me click this and see if anything will work. And it came like Malwarebytes right away. It was like this is flagged. I forget what the wording of it was, but it's really it's suspicious or whatever because I guess it runs scripts on them on the things too. So like I was like, all right, and I knew right away it was just like real sketchy. You know, it just was what it was. But yeah, that's the thing. And like for me, I just don't download stuff. You know, like if someone's like, hey, you know, I get teams that reach out to me. They want me to try their game out or whatever. I'm not downloading any games on my computer. I don't have the time to game anymore. But unless it's on like Steam or like Epic Games or whatever, like I'm just not gonna download it on my computer because it's like, why would I do that for what? You know, to try out a game. Meanwhile, who knows what the software is, right? So that's just me. Like I just like don't download shit on my computer because I don't. It's like my baby, you know.
No, I think you're very correct too, and I love to hear that you're running a virtual machine as well, because that is, if I may say, for the average person that's going to be in this as a listener as well, and that's me included for sure. That's the absolute proactive defense measure, as we were mentioning before. There's pretty much nothing better you could do because you get to see everything running through and nothing, barely anything is downloaded locally if you're running an external hard drive on it as well. So it's a great measure. But I mean, for the average user, they're still running plenty installs. They don't really have time to run through that. So I like to know, or I'm proud to have like a free representation. Or I mean, I don't know how much the membership costs of the solution you were talking about, but just like I assume they also maybe have like a free version that you can have as an install for your machine, and that is just super important to protect individuals, just to make that a very low entry barrier level of protection that doesn't have to be super conscious or super hard to integrate.
Yeah, exactly. And like another thing people could do in general is I would probably have more than one wallet too, especially if you're like full fledged degen. You should have more than one wallet because in case hypothetically one got compromised, like it would suck, right? Like you lose funds or whatever, but you still have chips on the table after that. So that's another thing. You know, it's just like have more than one wallet as well.
Yeah, for sure. No way you keep all your eggs in the same basket. That's like some of the financial advice you're going to see, even from like YouTube gurus get that correctly to say, hey, don't keep all your financial funds in the same place. And they're right about that. Same thing goes for your Web3 activity. No reason to keep everything in the same place where one guy who finally gets the key to your castle will for all of a sudden gets absolutely everything you own would make no sense.
Exactly. Yeah. I know, like I said before, what kind of irritates me in this space is this false sense of security when someone has like a ledger. They think they're like untouchable. It's like really, I mean, you don't even technically. I'm not gonna say you don't want to have a ledger, but you really don't even need a ledger. You just need to not do anything stupid. But even if you did something stupid with your ledger, it doesn't matter. It's just a key, anyways. And then if someone gets your key, it doesn't matter if you're on a ledger, if you're not on a ledger. It's just, I think sometimes people have this false sense of security. Like, I have a ledger, I could do whatever I want. No one can get in there because they think like, for some reason, people like feel like their digital assets are stored on that physical ledger. It's like no, it's stored on the blockchain still. Like that's just like it's like a key, right? It's like you open your door and you maybe you have another key that gets to the other lock as well. It's like an extra key or whatever, but it's still like if someone had both your keys, it doesn't matter. They can still come into your home, right? It's just like it's whatever. But anyways, I digress.
Okay, guys, that was fantastic. So I just wanted to just welcome Ponte to the speaker panel. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, man. I really appreciate you coming up. I've seen you around a lot. You've been in the Galactica Discord. You've been on the comments. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, man. I enjoy your content and the project. But English is not my first language, so my English is moderate at best. But I just wanted to share a scam history because I've been in crypto for 5 years. The only scams I've been through is basically meme coin scams. But last month, I ended up in a big scam. So, and it's I've been around on different layer tools like Scroll, Seco, Sync, Starknet, and stuff. So I look for early projects and stuff to invest in, and I found like this CK perpetuals. Is the name maybe?
Yeah, you got it, perpetuals. Yeah.
That's a
CK
tough word to say, by
yeah.
the way. You should pat yourself on the back. That's actually a tough word to say. So
Yeah.
you're doing really good, actually. That's pretty good.
So it was on the Scroll network, and they started with like an NFT mint for some keys. So I minted like a few keys and stuff, and the mint was very slow for like a month. They didn't mint out, but then all of a sudden the whole mint was finished and stuff, and they gave us like we could stake the keys, and they didn't inform us that we would lock them up until mainnet when we staked them. So that's the first red flag, basically. But most of us staked them, and then when you look back, you could see that the 90% of the supply of the keys they minted for themselves, and after everyone that minted the keys for real minted, they just kept selling on the marketplace for 10x the value. So everybody got FOMO and thought this was an awesome project. So that was the first thing, and then they released something called wait a minute, I don't remember the name, but it was another NFT and a CK pass, because you needed that to join the airdrop that they were gonna have later for participating in something called Athena testnet. And we were in using it was really advanced scam, because they had a perpetual site that you can use, fully functional and stuff. But it was a little bit buggy, but you could expect that in a new project. So, so I bought a lot of that too. But I thought it was very weird because the keys minted out, but then the CK pass didn't mint out as fast as I thought when everyone saw how big gains it was for the keys. So that's when I really started wondering, like, is this a scam? But then they came up with like a stable coin sale for the project, like stable coin that you would earn rewards from the fees on the trading platform. And and then they went with another sale. I didn't participate in that one, but then they came with their token sale, but we have earned a lot of tokens for their token sale with buying the CK pass and the keys. So I didn't buy off that either, both because I already got a lot of tokens and I saw a lot of red flags. But then 5 days before mainnet, they just deleted the whole channel and everything. So everything was gone after that. And that's my first scam after 5 years in crypto. So it was pretty advanced.
Holy damn.
That's all I
That's
wanted
the
to
most
say.
convoluted scam I've ever heard. Maybe. I don't know. But like maybe FTX. But in any case, like that's the kind you've got to be so careful, guys. Like if like I guess people can just play these really long cons. They can fork something that's already done really easily, and they can make it look like, you know, just skin some like forked technology in like some cheap skin, and then like and get you to stake your meme coins and to just buy some time until they can scam as much money as possible. That's horrible.
Yeah, this scam lasted for 4 months.
That's impressive. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's the biggest on Scroll Network so far.
Okay, yeah. So that, I guess this just highlights the importance of going with your gut. Maybe, I mean, I don't know what. Maybe Hippolyte. Maybe you can give some best practices in this situation for due diligence or something like that. Because I think only due diligence and maybe just gut feeling even would have saved you here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that are important there. one, especially just coming off the back of when you're what you're mentioning their gut feeling. I think Cosmo would probably be more just there because I think his gut for a lot more tailored to the situation. But in terms of just good practice and Web3 hygiene, it's hard to mention because in a situation like that, Dante, you had you had faith in the project that was starting. They had a responsibility. There was a few minor red flags in the beginning with maybe some transfer fees as well, and the fact that you couldn't move forward the project and it was quite slowly. But there's very little that would have told you that that one was going to bail on you, especially with 5 years of similar kind of projects I imagine that you were interacting with that hadn't bailed on you. So they can just bash the last second, and you kind of don't know what's happened until it's done, and you kind of couldn't do anything about it. The best way we try to interact with those kind of scams is we do tracing of different actors and the amount of wallets that they have that received funds and thorough wash training of how they managed to clean their money up after they stole it from affected individuals. And then whenever those guys pop back up again to start a new scam or a new project of the same store, we have that flagged immediately. So whatever interaction you would have when you would start minting processes or stuff like this, it would have been flagged at a certain point like that. In terms of social aspects, not much you can do other than maybe be even more attentive for those red flags, but that's a really hard ask in when you're interacting with projects. And yeah, and having installs and protections could also help, but that's really a tough one. There's not much you can do about that.
Yeah. Wow. Damn, Ponte. That was a tricky one.
Yeah, but it's like also a risk you have to take when you invest early in projects.
Well, especially in
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Web3, especially in this particular space where there's no regulation, there's no one here to save you guys. There's literally no one here. It's all on you. You are your own bank, and you are also you are doing due diligence for every project you invest in. It's all on you. That's the main thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, also, everything's so early still. Me personally, I just recommend investing if you're going to invest in I just invest in L1s, like the actual infrastructure, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's not everything has to be an investment in L1. You just have to do a lot of research, like a lot of research. If the team's not doxed, maybe I'm not saying everyone needs to dox either. I'm not some person that believes in that, but that can draw a little bit more suspicion, so to speak. So maybe draw a little bit okay, or is this team doxed? Not that, not like, and then that's another thing. That's a false sense of security because there's been plenty of people in human history that are doxed that been complete scam artists, right? Like you see it all the time, like Enron, and there's been so many different things in the stock market and politicians and everything else, and their docs, right? So it's not like an end all be all, but it should maybe okay, maybe I'm gonna do even a little bit more research into what this is. And like I said earlier, I don't know if it was maybe another space, but when I invest, I want to use the product, know the product, and understand the product. You're just not going to get my money. And a lot of NFT things, usually, typically, from my experience of being in this space, is whenever there's a mint and then the price starts to go parabolic right away, there's probably something up with it. Usually, not saying always, but that should be kind of a red flag. Oh, mint was this. I could see it going up a little bit, maybe at 2x's because people are like, shit, I missed the mint. Let me get one. But if it's just starting to go parabolic, there's probably reasons why people are taking the mints and they're buying them and they're just making the price go up, and then people get that FOMO, and that's just human nature, just as in general for humans. We'll see it here soon. As soon as Bitcoin gets up towards all time highs, that'll be when everyone starts to come into the space. And it's like, well, where were you at when Bitcoin was under 20K and you had the deal of a lifetime, right? And people get wrecked because they get in when stuff is so overinflated, and it's like you need more confirmation. I told I think I'm off the rail here a little bit, but a couple of Christmases ago, I told my family that were like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Because at the time we were just getting beat down in crypto, and I was basically like, "Oh, nothing's changed. Everything's sure." Whenever crypto's all time highs again, you're not reaching out to me and asking for advice, because my advice has always been get in early and not wait. And what do you know? Rest assured, Bitcoin hits that magical little 50K number, and I'm starting to get random texts and calls, and it's like, I already told you, like, don't bother me because I told you you should have been in Bitcoin or in looking into crypto a long time ago, and I'm not interested in helping you because I already know how the game plays out, right? Even though I still think 50K would be a great buy, but it's like, oh, now you get in when Bitcoin's at 150K. Hopefully, it gets there, but say hypothetically it does, and then they get wrecked or whatever. It's like, well, I never told you to get in at 150K. Like, you have to have a long purview in this space, and even when you're first starting to invest in things, like write stuff down. Like, why are you buying this? What are you going to do if a price gets to this? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? If you're just doing it off of emotion and instincts, most likely you're going to make a ton of mistakes because it's just the way it is. Like, emotion gets involved, whether it's in crypto or in life in general, you're probably going to make a bad decision at some point. It's like you're doing yourself a disfavor. So that's my rant.
100%. And this is something why I think a lot of people who come into this space are simply like maybe the biggest friction point in Web3 is that people are not prepared for the amount of autonomy that's required. Like, people understand that like Web3 means autonomy, it means sovereignty, but they don't understand how much autonomy is required for just basic decision making before you even come into the space. It's just absolutely massive. Yeah. So, guys, I would love to just ask another quick question of everyone, I guess. So we'll start with Hippolyte because he is our special guest. But I'd love to know, what is your your favorite security best practice? What's maybe the security best practice that you yourself wouldn't do anything without?
Well, I think I'll actually pass this one first off to somebody else because me personally, I haven't done too many transactions. I bought a few NFTs, a few things projects that I've liked, but I've tried to stay away from any projects that had too much hype or too many associations. But so yeah, I think actually I'll pass this one on to somebody else and then come back afterwards for
Sure
some
thing.
practices.
We've got a hand. Easy. What's up, man?
Yeah, to me, my own opinion, to stay safe out there is self-consciousness. Before you click on anything, you need to make research on it. As Cosmos said, or Citizen, you need to make research on it. Write down why you want to invest in this, why you want to be part of this, why you want to be part of what these people are actually building. You need to write down. You need to make that decision. You have all days. You have all the whole days to make that decision. You have a whole week to make that decision. But you need to be self-conscious. That's the only way to stay safe out here. Yeah, and plus some other application like Web3 and privacy.
I freaking love that. You have all day to make a bad decision. That's great. So yeah, you're in no rush, guys. You're really in no rush to make the bad decision. That's great, Easy. Well done.
Yeah, and then before I guess we wrap it up, like that's another thing too is the space generally tends to be on the younger side for the most part, and I just wouldn't rush things. Like I'm not super young anymore, and I'm not super old, but I've been investing in tech and been around tech for like over basically able to invest in it for 20 years, but I've been in tech my entire life basically. Things take time. I wouldn't rush anything. Like think about it from a historical perspective. Was it ever really a good time to sell Microsoft or Google or Amazon? And it's probably going to be the same occurrence for Bitcoin. Like, yeah, you could have got out of a position and make a little bit more money, possibly. But I think trying to time markets and think that you're at the bottom or at the top, it's hard. And even if you're good at it, it's very stressful. So if you believe in something, and this kind of goes back to my point about journaling, have goals. Like, what are you trying to get out of your investments? Like, why are you investing it? If XYZ happens, what are you going to do? Because if you don't have that, I tell this to everyone. I think so many people, because like my background is kind of in financial advisement and planning and things like that, and I'm not advising or anyone to ever buy anything, but just like if you are going to do things to make it a little bit more suitable and a better experience slash set yourself up for a better opportunity, you should probably have objectives. And like, okay, if hypothetically, if you're buying Bitcoin, if Bitcoin goes to 120K, are you gonna sell all of it? You're gonna sell none of it, or are you convinced like Bitcoin's gonna be worth millions one day, and you just like don't care, and you're like, look, I'm just gonna keep buying it forever, and I plan on retiring in 10 years, and then I'm gonna sell everything. Like whatever your goal is, but like write it down, and then think about stuff, right? And if the price is gonna dip a lot, am I gonna buy more of it, or am I gonna buy none of it? Like, what are you doing? If you do these things, and this also goes to just security and just things. It's like just have a game plan. If you're winging stuff, it's just life is so hard as it is, and then this is just amplifies life so much because crypto doesn't sleep. It never goes to sleep. It's never turned off. You can always have access to it. So it's really difficult if you don't have a goal or objectives.
100%, man. 100%. It actually kind of dives into my favorite security best practice, which is probably probably a bit much for a lot of people, but I find it very useful. Along kind of along the same lines as your journaling, Hoss. It's practice. It's testing. And one of the things that I will find myself doing is if I'm going into, if I make a decision at some point that I want to go into something more risky, a more degenerate play, then what I will do is I will find projects that are similar, and I will try, and I'll basically just put a line on a chart. You know how you can do like just a horizontal ray on the chart, and that will basically save my position. I will put that where I would have invested if I was going to invest, and then a couple of days later I'll come back to it, and I'll see what actually happened, and I'll see if my thesis was correct, and whether I was a complete idiot for even remotely thinking about it, which 90% of the time I was a complete idiot for even remotely thinking about it. But in any case, yeah, that's just like this weird little testing thing that I do on the thesis that I make on more degenerate stuff. Okay, guys. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start wrapping up. We're on the 1.5 hour mark, so I'm afraid we didn't get as much information as we wanted to just because of the technical issues, but I still feel that this second half has been very valuable to an awful lot of people. So I just want to say thank you for everyone. Hippolyte, I don't know if you just want to give like some final thoughts or a wrap up or just say goodbye, whatever you want to do. We've been absolutely thrilled to have you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys as well. Been nice to talk to you guys. Thank you, Cosmo, for your insight. Some finishing thoughts. I just wanted to say, like, when you're talking about that, I do love your best practice of doing a trial, of setting a marker, and then doing a practice account where you would check afterwards whether or not you've been successful. To me, I separate two cases in between malicious actors that are actively trying to scam you, and then market investment, which I like to call personally gambling, but that's because I really do not know what I'm talking about. So that's why I try to keep my toes away from dipping in there because I feel like it's a bit dangerous for myself. But if you know what you're talking about, it can be an absolute ride. No, I think in terms of scams and malicious actors, best practice is always to be conscious about what active solutions are there, what can protect you, what can help you. If you're going into small niche or projects where you think it's more risky, definitely do your own research in investigating the project, verifying official channels and community discords. I also very highly recommend smart contract audits because if those are done by reputable sources, there's always a nice stamp of approval to have, and most nice projects that are trying to do things officially will have those. But yeah, staying protected is about having the latest information on deck, and I'd also recommend others in the background that can do 99% of that heavy lifting for you without blinking an eye. So thank you very much for having us in the space, and hopefully, maybe if there's a next one, we can take advantage of the full hour and a half and not have 42 minutes of aching internet problems.
My goodness, yes, yes. You are more than welcome to come back on another space. We will organize another space. I'll say that. We'll organize another space because it's only fair that you get proper representation. But we've thoroughly enjoyed having you on, regardless of the technical issues and the mics and all that stuff. We'll get it perfect next time. Okay, everyone.
Yeah, great, man.
No worries, man. No worries. Okay, everyone. So if you would like to give a parting thought, then just raise your hand. CosmosHOSS, do you just want to give a final thought before we disappear?
No, thank you, everyone, especially those that stuck through both parts of this space. I think hopefully, you got some sort of benefit from us ranting on both spaces. But I always I'm appreciative of everyone that tunes in afterwards, ask questions, get involved, and yeah, just keep learning. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Tildorn, you had your hand up. What's up, dude?
Yeah, just want to say thanks for the space. Sometimes I wish there would be more done, obviously, to educate people about scammers, because a lot of people joining that space or coming into crypto, and once they get scammed, most likely that happens when they're new to crypto. A lot of people, they're leaving with a pretty much bad taste in their mouth, you know. And I think if there would be more education around that piece, I believe more people would actually stay and enjoy that space. You know.
I could not agree more. This is actually one of the reasons why we are building Galactica.com, guys. So if you want to find out what we're up to, you want to follow the main account, which is hosting this space, you want to join us on Discord, we are aiming to bring identity and reputation and trust to Web3 in a way that actually maintains the main crypto ethos that we all know and love. So we care about decentralization. We care about your ownership of your assets and your identity and your data. We care about people. We just care about the crypto ethos, guys. We care about maintaining it in the face of making sure that you can identify yourself and make sure that you can prove things to other people without foregoing your privacy. Essentially, we are trying to be everything that CBDCs are not. You can think of us that way. So we're a layer 1 protocol. We are currently offering you guys the chance to become citizens of our protocol early. So all you need to do that is jump on the Discord and follow along the Cypher State program, and you can earn your citizenship. The earlier you get your citizenship, the more benefits you will get. It's as simple as that. Everything that we do is reputation based. Currently, you don't have to pay a dime for anything. All we need is your social contributions and contributions to the protocol in general. Raise your reputation, increase the level of your citizenship, and there you go. So please join us, and thank you very much for listening to that spiel. So thank you guys also, listeners, for sticking with us through 2 spaces. I apologize for the technical issues. It's been an absolute pleasure having Web3 antivirus up here in Hippolyte. They've been absolutely fantastic. We will do another space with them. And thank you, listeners, for being here through both those spaces. It's been great. So this is actually a weekly space. You can catch us every Wednesday at 2100 hours UTC. And we hope that we see you on the next one. We really do. Give us a like and a retweet on the way out. And we will see you next time on the next episode of Into the Cypher State, guys. See you soon.